Okay, so as a review of what we did yesterday, guys, we have a graph of a parabola, but it looks a little bit different. Why don't you take out your calculators and we're going to type in exactly what you have for your y1. And guys, what you can do is just go to y1. Again, if something is there, let's just say that something from yesterday was there and I'll just type that much. Simply press the clear button. It's right next to the down arrow. And when you press clear, it's erased. The only difference in what we have right here and what we did yesterday is that the forms can look a little bit different. You can see for number 6, you have to start with a -2. Please make sure that you don't press -2. If you type subtract 2, you're going to get an error message because the calculator is very confused. You're telling it to take away 2, and you wouldn't tell it to take away 2 from something. So instead, the negative button's all the way, it's the bottom rightmost button that you can press. So type -2, parentheses. By the way, the parentheses, look at the calculator here. Right above the 8 is the left parenthesis. We'll type x minus 2. Right above the 9 is the right parenthesis. Then we'll press the x squared button. The x squared button is diagonally across from the 7. And we'll hit the x squared there. Type in +1. Right now, we pretty much have exactly what we were doing yesterday. So let's go through, and maybe a couple of you were absent. Let's just make sure that we know how to walk you through. First of all, we want to make sure we're on Zoom what? Zoom 6. Press Zoom. It's all the way in the top row in the middle. Go down to number 6. Most of you are already there, but you want to make sure that you are graphing, guys, in a -10 by 10 window. And we're always going to have that. Well, right now, as you see this parabola, it's an upside-down U kind of a shape. The vertex is this point that I'm touching right here. It's the top of the U. Would this be a maximum point or a minimum point, do you think? Maximum. And that much is so important because the tool that we're about to use always requires us to say find a max or find a min. So it's like the top of the mountain, we're going to go to a max. What you do is you press second and then go to the trace button. It's on that top row, the second button from the right. So go second trace. You're really going to the calculate menu. And then go down to max. And when you hit max, guys, you go to a graphing screen once again, but it says left bound. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Guess what number we always type in for the left bound? -10. Guys, you're going to do that every single time, whether you're finding a max or a min. Kids will ask why. I had so many kids asking that later in the morning yesterday. They're saying, why are you doing that? -10 is the leftmost x value on the screen. So we'll hit enter, and then it will say right bound. Well, what's the rightmost x value? +10. And then it will say guess. Just hit enter one more time. And the vertex, well, guess what the 1.99999 is really trying to tell you? It's a 2, right? So you're saying, really, I should have a vertex at 2, 1. 2, 1. Now, right now, you could go to the table. You see, it's great to see this picture, and it's so helpful to see it. But if you're asked to graph it, you need specific points, and you want to go to the vertex. So now we're going to go to the table. Hit second graph. And we said that you want to make sure that your vertex is in the middle of the screen. It pretty much is right now. You can see that 2 is right there. We're always going to go a couple of steps above and below, or to the right and to the left of that vertex. You can see, yeah, we're at 2, 1. We're at 1, -1, and we're at 0, -7. Here we're at 3, 1, or -1. and then we're going to be at 4 comma negative 7. And it's the symmetry that I really, really, really want to point out to you. That's so important. Look, I'm going to recopy this table over here. I think it's going to make this jump out at us a little bit more. When you graph this correctly, guys, if you've done this in a correct manner, you see duplicates of these y values. The negative 7 shows up twice. The negative 1 shows up twice. That's the telltale sign that you have found what you're looking for. What have you been looking for? Well, the vertex. The calculator told us 1.999. That's really a 2. We're at 2 comma 1. And now I can graph it. I'm going to go 2 steps to the right, up 1. I'm going to go 3 to the right, down 1. 4 to the right, and I'm going to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll be at 1 comma negative 1, 1 to the right, down 1. And 0, negative 7 will be over here. This is the symmetry of a parabola, guys. You always, always, always get doubling of y values. And now you can graph it very quickly and easily. It might look a little bit different from yesterday's form. Your equation didn't look quite like that, but I hope you can see it's really the same thing. Let's real quickly also take a look at our last one, number 7. You know, when you get to problem 7, guys, it looks a little bit different from what we did yesterday and what we did a second ago, but it's the exact same concept. Here's what we do. We go to y equals. And I want to erase that, so I'm going to press clear. And I'm going to type parentheses, and again, that's above the 8 and the 9. So I'll go x plus 1. And over here, I'll go x minus 3. And at this point, guys, we've typed it in. We're good to go. We have already set up our window in a negative 10 to 10 frame. So you don't have to hit zoom 6 again. You are more than welcome to just press graph. Graph is that top right button. And sure enough, you can see a nice U shape showing up. The vertex, I'm going to put my finger on it. It's right here. It's the very bottom of that U shape. Super important. Is this a maximum or a minimum? What do you think? It's a minimum. That's the bottom of the valley, the lowest point that you see. And why is that so important? We have to tell the calculator, would you find the minimum? So hopefully you guys remember how to get to that very important tool, which we're going to use next semester too. This is why we're introducing it. It's helping you now. It's going to help you later in the year. Where do we go to find the max and min? We have to do what? Hit second, trace, right next to the graph button. And it's really the calculate menu. And again, we're going to have to go now to the minimum, choice 3. And when we hit enter, it will say left bound. Guess what we will always type in for a left bound, guys? Negative 10. Every single time. How about for the right bound? We're going to type in positive 10 every single time. Hit enter one final time to get your guess. And right now they're saying, hey, it looks like we're at 1.00005 and negative 4. Guess what our vertex really is? There's always some roundup. It's going to be 1 comma negative 4, of course. Now, guys, look, I can tell you already, I want to build a table around the vertex. The vertex is the center of the graph. I want points around it so I can get bigger, 2 steps bigger. I could get 2 steps smaller, right? So the focus of my graph, the center of my graph, should be at 1 comma negative 4. And I can up arrow or down arrow if I ever need to get some table values. Talking about the table values, let's go second table. And I'm just going to hit up arrow one more time to get the symmetry that we need. Look at the repetition, the doubling of your y values. I hope that jumps out at you and screams loud and clear that we've done this correctly. Look, guys, you know that you're doing this correctly when you see the symmetry, when you're seeing the y values doubling up. There's one more thing that you got to do. You just have to plot this all out. The vertex was 1 to the right, down 4. And then, we're at 0, -3. That's right here. We're at 2, -3. We're at -1, 0. Or we're at 3, 0. And guys, right there you have a real nice parabola graph. So regardless of the form that you have, regardless of what your original equation looks like, we always do the same basic steps, and then we're good to go. Any questions? All right.